During World War II, starving families across occupied Europe survived by eating a plant that grows in almost every American lawn today. This plant contains 5 times more omega-3 fatty acids than spinach, more vitamin A than carrots, and enough vitamin C to prevent scurvy. It grows without planting, without watering, without fertilizer, and without any care whatsoever. Your great-grandparents knew it as a valuable food source. They picked it from garden edges and roadsides, adding it to salads and soups when other vegetables were unavailable. Today, Americans spend billions of dollars on herbicides specifically designed to kill this plant. We have been trained to see it as an enemy, a weed that ruins the appearance of our lawns and gardens. Meanwhile, we pay premium prices for omega-3 supplements and imported superfoods that cannot match what grows free in our own backyards. This is the story of Purslane. Number 1. The weed that outperforms superfoods. Purslane is not a rare plant requiring special cultivation or exotic growing conditions. It is one of the most common plants on Earth, growing on every continent except Antarctica. In America, it appears uninvited in lawns, gardens, sidewalk cracks, and any disturbed soil that receives adequate sunlight. Most Americans have seen it countless times without knowing what it was, dismissing it as just another weed to be removed. This casual dismissal ignores a nutritional profile that puts expensive superfoods to shame. 100 grams of Purslane contains approximately 300 to 400 milligrams of alpha-linolenic acid, an omega-3 fatty acid essential for human health. This concentration makes Purslane the richest source of omega-3 among all leafy green vegetables ever tested. Spinach, widely celebrated as a health food, contains only about 80 milligrams per 100 grams. The comparison is not even close. Purslane delivers roughly 5 times the omega-3 content of spinach from a plant that requires zero cultivation effort. The nutritional advantages extend far beyond omega-3 content. Purslane provides over 1,300 international units of vitamin A per 100 grams, supporting eye health and immune function. It delivers 21 milligrams of vitamin C, historically crucial for preventing scurvy during times of food scarcity. Potassium content reaches for 194 milligrams, supporting heart health and proper muscle function. Magnesium levels of 68 milligrams contribute to hundreds of enzymatic processes in the human body. Iron content of nearly 2 milligrams helps prevent the anemia that plagued many wartime populations. Number 2. For 1,000 years of forgotten wisdom, humans have eaten Purslane for at least 4,000 years, with archaeological and historical evidence documenting its consumption across multiple continents and civilizations. This is not a recently discovered superfood, but an ancient food source that modern societies have inexplicably abandoned. Understanding this history reveals how dramatically our relationship with everyday plants has changed within just a few generations. Ancient Egyptian records document Purslane cultivation and consumption, recognizing the plant's nutritional and medicinal value. Greek and Roman physicians, including Hippocrates and Pliny the Elder, wrote about Purslane's health benefits, recommending it for various ailments. Traditional Chinese medicine incorporated Purslane for centuries, using it to treat conditions ranging from digestive problems to skin disorders. Indian Ayurvedic practitioners similarly valued Purslane for its cooling properties and nutritional density. Medieval European gardens routinely included Purslane among cultivated vegetables. Herbals from this period describe Purslane as a valued salad ingredient and medicinal plant. The French developed particular appreciation for Purslane, incorporating it into their cuisine in ways that continue today. Colonial American gardens grew Purslane intentionally, with early American cookbooks including recipes featuring this nutritious grain. Thomas Jefferson grew Purslane at Monticello, documenting it among the vegetables cultivated in his extensive gardens. This 4,000-year tradition of Purslane consumption represented accumulated wisdom about the plant's value. Generation after generation recognized Purslane as food worth eating, worth cultivating, and worth preserving through seed saving and garden planning. The knowledge passed from parents to children across countless cultures and centuries. If you had no idea that this common weed was actually a nutritional powerhouse, hit that subscribe button because we are revealing forgotten knowledge that could change how you see your entire lawn. Tell us in the comments if your grandparents or great-grandparents ever mentioned eating weeds during hard times. Number 3. How World War II revived ancient knowledge. When World War II disrupted food supplies across Europe, millions of families faced genuine hunger that forced them to rediscover what their ancestors had known. Occupation, bombing, and naval blockades cut off normal food distribution channels. Rationing restricted access to even basic vegetables. Gardens that had focused on conventional crops could not produce enough to fill the gap. Desperate families turned to foraging, and purslane emerged as one of the most valuable wild foods available. European families during the war years picked purslane from roadsides, garden edges, bombed-out lots, and anywhere else it appeared. The plant's aggressive growth habit, which modern lawn owners find so frustrating, became a survival advantage during wartime. Purslane could establish itself in disturbed soil within days, producing edible leaves before most planted vegetables had even germinated. Its ability to thrive without irrigation mattered when water supplies were disrupted. Its tolerance for poor soil conditions meant it grew where other plants failed. British authorities promoting the Dig for Victory campaign recognized the value of wild edibles, including purslane. While official guidance emphasized conventional vegetables, experienced gardeners and foragers shared knowledge about supplementary wild foods through informal networks. Older people who remembered eating purslane before industrial food systems became dominant taught younger generations what their parents had failed to pass along. German families under increasingly severe rationing similarly turned to purslane and other wild edibles. French families in occupied territories harvested purslane from any available ground. Dutch families during the hunger winter of 1940 to 1945 ate anything edible they could find, with purslane among the more nutritious options available during those desperate months. Number 4. The chemical war against your lawn. The transformation of purslane from valued food to despised weed occurred remarkably quickly after World War II ended. Several converging factors drove this change, but the rise of the chemical herbicide industry played the central role in teaching Americans to poison a plant their grandparents had eaten. Understanding this transformation reveals how commercial interests can reshape cultural attitudes within a single generation. The modern lawn care industry emerged in the post-war era, promoting an aesthetic ideal of uniform grass uninterrupted by any other plants. This ideal had no practical basis, serving neither nutritional or ecological purposes, but it became a marker of social status and neighborhood conformity. Purslane, with its low-growing spreading habit, violated this aesthetic completely. A plant that had been welcomed in gardens for centuries became reclassified as an enemy of the proper lawn. Chemical companies developed herbicides specifically targeting broadleaf plants like purslane while sparing grass. These products promised easy elimination of anything that disrupted lawn uniformity. Marketing campaigns taught homeowners to identify and despise plants their grandparents would have recognized as food. The word weed itself became synonymous with worthless or harmful, erasing any memory of the nutritional value these plants offered. The scale of herbicide application in American landscapes is staggering. Homeowners apply approximately 70 million pounds of pesticides and herbicides to lawns annually in the United States. A significant portion of these chemicals specifically target purslane and similar broadleaf plants. Americans spend billions of dollars each year poisoning a vegetable that contains more omega-3 than spinach, more vitamin than many cultivated vegetables, and enough nutrition to have sustained populations through wartime scarcity. Number 5. Purslane in your yard safe to eat? The most important question for anyone considering harvesting purslane involves safety. Can you actually eat the purslane growing in your lawn or garden without risking your health? The answer depends entirely on what chemicals have been applied to your property and surrounding areas. Purslane itself is completely safe and nutritious, but purslane contaminated with herbicides or pesticides is not. The first rule for safe purslane harvesting requires knowing your property's chemical history. If your previous owners applied herbicides, pesticides, or synthetic fertilizers, those chemicals may persist in the soil and on plant surfaces. Lawns treated with weed killers should not be harvested for at least one full growing season after the last application, and some sources recommend waiting even longer. When in doubt, start fresh in an area you control completely. Roadside purslane carries additional risks from vehicle exhaust, road salt, and runoff contamination. Plants growing near busy roads may accumulate lead and other pollutants that make them unsuitable for consumption. Similarly, purslane near agricultural fields may be contaminated by drift from crop spraying operations. The safest purslane grows in organic gardens, yards never treated with chemicals, or wild areas far from roads and conventional agriculture. Proper identification matters because purslane has a potentially dangerous lookalike. Spurge, particularly spotted spurge, superficially resembles purslane but produces a milky white sap when stems are broken. Purslane stems exude clear liquid, never milky sap. Checking for this sap before harvesting provides a reliable identification test. Purslane leaves are also notably fake and succulent, while spurge leaves are thinner and less fleshy. Number 6. From lawn to table, preparing purslane for eating requires almost no special knowledge or culinary skill. The leaves and tender stems are edible raw, adding a slightly sour, citrusy crunch to salads that many people find refreshing and distinctive. The texture resembles a succulent plant, which purslane technically is, with thick leaves that burst slightly when bitten. First-time tasters often express surprise at how pleasant purslane tastes, expecting something bitter or unpleasant from a plant they have spent years trying to eliminate. Raw purslane works exceptionally well in mixed salads, contributing both nutrition and textural variety. The lemony flavor complements tomatoes, cucumbers, and mild lettuces. Mediterranean cuisines traditionally combine purslane with olive oil, lemon juice, and garlic for simple salads that highlight the green's natural qualities. Adding purslane to sandwiches or wraps provides crunch similar to lettuce with dramatically superior nutritional content. Cooking purslane opens additional culinary possibilities. The leaves and stems can be sautéed briefly with garlic and olive oil, similar to preparing spinach or other cooking grains. Longer cooking breaks down the slightly mucilaginous quality some people notice in raw purslane, resulting in a texture closer to cooked spinach. Soups and stews benefit from purslane additions during the final minutes of cooking, preserving color and nutrition while softening texture. Pickling purslane preserves harvests for year-round use. The thick stems and leaves hold up well to pickling brines, maintaining their structure better than more delicate greens. Pickled purslane can substitute for pickled vegetables in various dishes or serve as a tangy condiment. This preservation method extends the usefulness of summer harvests into winter months when fresh purslane is unavailable. If you are now seeing your lawn completely differently after learning all this, subscribe to our channel for more Forgotten World War to Food wisdom. We want to hear from you in the comments. Would you actually try eating purslane after watching this video? Or does the idea of eating weed still feel strange? Number 7. Growing purslane on purpose. While purslane grows abundantly without any assistance, some gardeners choose to cultivate it intentionally for more controlled harvests. Deliberate cultivation offers advantages including known chemical-free status, convenient location, and selection of improved varieties with larger leaves or better flavor. The irony of deliberately planting a weed is not lost on gardeners who understand purslane's value, but intentional cultivation makes practical sense for anyone serious about incorporating this nutritious green into their diet. Planting purslane from seed could not be simpler. Seeds are extremely small and should be scattered on the soil surface rather than buried. Light pressing ensures seed contact with soil without covering them too deeply. Germination occurs within 7 to 10 days when soil temperatures reach 65 degrees Fahrenheit or warmer. The plants grow rapidly once established, reaching harvestable size within 4 to 6 weeks of germination. Golden purslane represents the most common cultivated variety, offering larger leaves and milder flavor than wild types. This variety has been selected over generations for improved eating quality while retaining the nutritional profile that makes purslane valuable. Seeds are available from specialty seed companies focusing on unusual vegetables and heirloom varieties. Some mainstream garden centers now stock purslane seeds as awareness of its value gradually increases. Container growing works exceptionally well for purslane, allowing apartment dwellers or those with treated lawns to produce their own supply. Wide, shallow containers suit purslane's spreading growth habit better than deep, narrow pots. Regular watering maintains rapid growth, though purslane tolerates drought far better than most vegetables. Full sun produces the most robust plants, but purslane accepts partial shade in hot climates. Number 8. Reclaiming what we poisoned. The story of purslane reflects a broader pattern of nutritional knowledge loss that occurred throughout the 20th century. Industrial food systems promised convenience and abundance, but delivered standardization and forgetting. Plants that had sustained humanity for millennia became obstacles to be eliminated rather than resources to be harvested. Commercial interests redefined weeds as enemies without mentioning that many of those weeds had been food for generations beyond counting. Your great-grandparents would likely find our treatment of purslane incomprehensible. They understood that edible plants appearing without cultivation represented gifts rather than problems. The effort we spend poisoning purslane would strike them as wasteful destruction of free food. The money we spend on Omega-3 supplements while killing the richest omega-3 vegetable would seem like insanity. Our elaborate lawn care rituals that eliminate edible plants to maintain purely ornamental grass would appear as strange priorities of a society that has lost connection with practical food knowledge. Reclaiming this knowledge requires nothing more than a shift in perception. The purslane growing in sidewalk cracks is not an enemy, it is a vegetable waiting to be recognized. The patches of purslane that appear each summer in garden beds are not problems requiring chemical solutions. They are free omega-3 supplements, free vitamins, and free food that previous generations would have gratefully harvested. Starting this shift is simple. Learn to identify purslane reliably. Find or create an uncontaminated source. Harvest a small amount and try it raw in a salad. Notice the lemony flavor that complements other vegetables. Consider that you are eating the same plant that sustained families through World War II scarcity, the same plant that ancient civilizations cultivated intentionally, the same plant that contains 5 times more omega-3 than the spinach you pay for at grocery stores. Your great-grandparents may have eaten purslane during difficult times, adding its nutritious leaves to soups and salads when other vegetables were scarce. They understood something we have forgotten, that the line between weed and vegetable often depends more on cultural perception than botanical reality. A plant containing 5 times more omega-3 than spinach is not a weed. It is a superfood that happens to grow without permission. Perhaps this summer you will see the purslane in your lawn differently. Perhaps you will harvest it instead of poisoning it. Perhaps you will taste what your ancestors knew and wonder why we ever stopped eating it. The nutrition has not changed. The plant has not changed. Only our perception changed, and perception can change again. Thank you for watching until the very end. If this video changed how you think about the plants growing around you, subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss our forgotten food wisdom videos. Share your great-grandparents' foraging stories in the comments. We read every single one.